Well, some families living near the Fairchild Air Force Base are not drinking the water coming out of their faucets. Many of them have learned their drinking water's been contaminated by a chemical linked to Fairchild Air Force Base. Once these chemicals, known as PFAS, reach above a certain threshold, water is no longer safe to drink as it can pose serious health risks.
Tonight, we're learning of a new recommendation by the EPA that would lower the healthy amount of chemicals allowed in water to practically zero. KXLY's Jordan Smith talked to those people who have well water that's been contaminated and Fairchild Air Force Base to learn more in an exclusive story you'll only see here on KXLY.
Aaron, Kirsten, all up and down this road is a slew of residents who have had their water tested for these chemicals, many of them concerned about the health risks that they pose. I sat down with the Fairchild Air Force Base earlier today who broke down how they determine which areas they test these chemicals in and what they're doing to solve the problem. It's a dangerous chemical that's made its way into some people's water supply.
I didn't trust the water before they ever even came out here.
Shirley Whipple is one of them. She lives several miles north of the Fairchild Air Force Base, where chemicals known as PFAS have contaminated her drinking water. These chemicals have been known to cause reproductive problems, developmental issues, and certain cancers. Shirley's family lived in this region for years, many of them lost to cancer.
My husband was stationed at Fairchild several years ago. Then he's been down here since '78, and then he got cancer. And then he got cancer again, and then he got it again. His mother lived here. She died of cancer. He died of cancer.
She believes there's a direct correlation to the drinking water. But how did it become contaminated to begin with? Well, for decades, these chemicals were found in foam used to extinguish fires on military bases across the country, including Fairchild. After the EPA determined them to be hazardous in 2016, military bases stepped away from the chemical and began making reparations.
So we continue to study that so that we can learn more about it and provide clean and safe drinking water to affected residents in the area.
After learning of the harm of these chemicals, Fairchild quickly began testing well water in the surrounding area. Over the past few years, they've expanded their monitoring area to where you see now. I asked them how they determined which areas they test in.
We start with proximity to Fairchild, and then we look at how groundwater flows away from the base and how that groundwater can carry the contaminants with it. So based on that, we set up a sampling area, and we sampled approximately 400 residences in that area. And that's our primary area of concern right now.
For families where water has been deemed as unsafe to drink, the Air Force has installed a well water treatment system that purifies the water of any contaminants. Each one costs $55,000 to build. So far, 88 have been constructed. That contamination threshold is currently at 70 parts per trillion liters of water, meaning if a resident had a contamination rate of 60 parts per trillion, they wouldn't qualify for this water filtration system. But after an interim advisory was released this summer by the EPA, the organization is now suggesting starkly different numbers. Less than 1 part per trillion liters of water. And because Fairchild operates on federal regulations, should this advisory become a new regulation, everyone in this area above the threshold of 1 part per million would qualify for a water filtration system. Jordan Smith, 4 News Now.